Today we're going to make half square triangles using two pieces of fabric, two different fabrics, but when it ends up we will have half square triangles, and we're going to use 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares to get what we want. So we have 4 inch, and then we have to always add 1/2 of an inch in order to get the square to be 4 inches when it's completed. So I'm going to cut this 4.5 inches from here to here. That's 4.5 inches. This is my line right here, and this is my line right here. That's why I know it's 4.5. And we'll start from this side to make 4.5. And the 1/2 inch is going to be right here. I'm just going to put my ruler here on the 4.5 inch line. Follow this 1/2 inch here, so that should be 4.5 from the bottom. Okay. So this is our 4.5 inch squares. We decided to make half square triangles, so now we still have to cut our 4.5 inch squares into 1/2 inch triangles. And then I've already done that using the same fabric right here. What we did, we left this close together, we pressed it with the iron on both sides, open it up here, press again, and now you have half square triangles made from the 4.5 inch squares. And now if we make 8 or 10 of these, we put them together, then we can have our block. But it's really not that much to do, so we're just going to arrange the squares in any way we want to get our pictures. Now that looks like that's what did that look like to you? But let's switch it again. We're still using the same thing. We're going to make something different now. We're going to have a square in a square.
Okay.
But just flipping around.
Oh.
So this is your square, and this is your square out here. If this isn't large enough, you would take another 4.5 inches and come all the way down here. And I didn't cut that piece yet. But that's how you would do it. I don't know if these are long enough or not to show if you wanted to add something. If you put a half square here and a half square here, now you got it different. You're still using square and a half square, but you're just using a different.
Oh.
These colors may not be something you want, but our ancestors didn't have the privilege that we have now to make use the fabric they want, so they just used whatever they had. And then if the ones that was really fussy, they took their time and made just one. But I like to make scrappy quilts, so I just reach in my bag, put it out, and put it together. And I don't have anything long enough, but we could still make this longer by just adding a 4 inch by, I think that's about 9 or 10 inches across, and then you got another square in the square. It depends on how large you want your square. If you want a small square, a large square, the larger the square, the faster you can get. You get that project done so you can start another one.
Right.
The other things that we have here is a 9 patch. So we're going to put this aside, and I have a 9 patch within a. These are your four patches. This would be 1, 2, 3. This is a 9 patch. 3, 3, 3 is 9. That's your 9 inch square. You take 2.5 inch borders on both sides, and then the top, and that's to border it. And then after, if you want it larger, you do the same thing again. You put your outside 2.5 or 3 inch, whatever you want. Add your centerpiece, and you've got a different block. And I think that's about all we have cut for today.